Next, let's get back to the Supreme Court race.
And it, of course, has been a big one, the most expensive court race in American history by far. Again, called within an hour of polls closing. Judge Janet Protasiewicz becomes the next Supreme Court justice in Wisconsin. There you see the latest numbers. Now, this is what's at stake today. With Protasiewicz coming away with that victory, it'll tip the scales of the court for some of the most pressing issues, including abortion rights and redistricting. We have team coverage of this race tonight with reporters at both camps. So
let's begin with political reporter Will Keneally, who is live in Milwaukee with the Protasiewicz campaign. Good evening, Will.
Eric and Charlotte, we just heard the Justice-elect wrap up her election night remarks here at our watch party in Milwaukee, echoing essentially themes of extremism that we've heard her say throughout the campaign. She says that the voice of the people of Wisconsin have been heard, and they want a fundamental shift of the court away from the conservative majority that is on the court right now.
Just over a year ago, I got into this race. I made the decision because I saw that Wisconsinites were ready for common sense and fairness on their Supreme Court. They were ready to put aside the partisanship and put aside the extremism and to have an impartial court, and a court that makes decisions based on the law, not on a political agenda.
So, Eric and Charlotte, what we did not hear from Protasiewicz during her victory speech here was any direct mention of her opponent, conservative Dan Kelly. Now, as you mentioned before, this gives liberals a 4-3 majority on the court, and we could see a litany of issues come up, essentially overturning a lot of Republican policies that we've seen in the last decade. Abortion policy will obviously be at the top of the ticket. We could also see Labor Policies Act 10, for example. We could also see this court redraw the state's legislative districts. That will all obviously take place ahead of her when she takes her seat in August. Reporting from Milwaukee, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Will Keneally reporting live from Milwaukee. Will, thank you.
As we mentioned, spending in this Supreme Court race shattered state and national records. The candidates spent a total of $42 million over the course of the campaign. The previous record high for spending in a court race, just $15 million. That was in Illinois back in 2004. And next, we're going to head to the watch party for Dan Kelly in Green Lake.
Our Armand Rahman is there live, continuing our team coverage tonight. Armand?
Yeah, guys, the room is clearing out here at the Heidel House Center in Green Lake after what was a charged concession speech from the former Supreme Court justice. But based on his performance tonight, compared to his performance back in 2020, the loss may not have been that surprising. Now, both Kelly and current Supreme Court Justice Rebecca Bradley echoed that they are worried that the judicial system in Wisconsin will side with the legislative branch going forward too much, alluding perhaps to Protasiewicz's open stances on abortion, redistricting, and more.
I wish that in a circumstance like this, I would be able to concede to a worthy opponent. But I do not have a worthy opponent to which I can concede. This was the most deeply deceitful, dishonorable, despicable campaign I have ever seen run for the courts.
Now, despite all this, Kelly did say he respected the state of Wisconsin's decision, and he wished Wisconsinites luck because he says, quote, he thinks they're going to need it. For now, live in Green Lake, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
Armand at the Dan Kelly watch party tonight. Thank you very much, Armand.